Good morning, everybody. It is Dan, an entrepreneur, coming to you from the lovely Cairns, North Queensland, Australia. Again, it's Thursday morning. It's a little bit warmer today, which is fantastic. Normally we talk about a bit of motivation, money making ideas, stuff like that. So today I wanted to do something a little bit different, maybe a little bit fun. I got a question sent to me on Quora several days ago, and I thought, hey, why not? Let's do a quick video on it. And basically, the question was, what are some things you absolutely, definitely do not do while in Australia? So today, I just basically want to go through my top 5 things that you shouldn't do while in Australia. So, number 1. G'day mates, crikey, all that sort of good stuff. So number 1, kangaroos. Yes, they're cute, they're cuddly, but if you're in the outback, do not, under any circumstances, try and cuddle a kangaroo. Okay, especially in the wild. They're quite vicious, they're quite ferocious. They get very aggressive. I've heard stories of, where the police found the body of a foreigner which was travelling through the outback, tried to cuddle a kangaroo, and the kangaroo had literally split him from head to toe, and the guy died. So do not cuddle a kangaroo. If you do go to a wildlife sanctuary, we have these small little kangaroos called wallabies and rock wallabies. You can feed them, you can cuddle them, you can pat them. But under no circumstances, like the big red and the big grey kangaroos, do not try and cuddle them. Okay, so keep your distance, and they'll generally keep their distance. If they're coming towards you, then just like run, get out of there. They're crazy. Okay, so number 2. Now, if you are travelling through the Australian outback, especially up around the top end, Western Australia, Northern Territory, places like that. I've got a really good friend of mine that does tour guiding over there. Big shout out to him, Storm, Storm Kiwi tour guide. And basically, if you're going through the outback, you want to make sure you've got plenty of supplies. So take plenty of fuel, take plenty of water. Take foods, because if you get stuck out in the outback, it could be, because a lot of the places out there are very isolated, so it could be like several days before somebody finds you. Obviously the east coast of Australia, I think it's something like 65 or 75 or 70% of the population lives on the east coast of Australia. So the highways and the places over here on the east coast get sort of visited a lot more often. So, if you get lost over here on the east coast, then there's a good chance you're going to get found a lot sooner. Whereas on the sort of the west coast and the Northern Territory, it's a bit more isolated. It's not as highly populated. So there's sort of people not frequenting places as much. So definitely make sure you take plenty of supplies. Make sure your car's mechanically sound. Or if you're hiring a vehicle, make sure you go through a reputable sort of car hirer. Secondly is, number 3 is don't drink in public. We have a very strict liquor licensing legislation here in Australia. I remember last year when I went to Taiwan with my girlfriend and meet her friends and family. I was walking through one of the big shopping malls over there, and I was drinking Jack Daniels and cola, bottles of stubbies as we call them here in Australia. Just walking through the shopping mall kind of in the middle of the day because, hey, I'm on vacation and I'm Australian and we've got a drinking problem, but it is what it is. Walking through the shopping mall, walked past a big group of police officers which were sort of walking around the mall, and they honestly couldn't care less. However, here in Australia, if you're doing that, and I do help out at a bar a couple nights a week, and I see it all the time. If you are a traveller to Australia and you're sort of going out to party, or which, hey, fair enough, Australia's a great place to party. But if you're drinking in public and the police see you, they're probably going to ask you to either A, put the lid back on it, or in a lot of cases they're going to tell you to tip it out. Now, if you're a dick and you argue with the police officer about it, they're probably going to give you an on-the-fine spot for drinking in public. If you continue to be a dick, there's a good chance you're going to wind up in a good old Australian watch house, in jail for the night. And if it happens to be on a weekend, then you're probably going to spend the weekend there until you can go and see a judge first thing on a Monday morning, because judges don't work on the weekend here in Australia. So don't drink in public. If you are going to do it, I mean, just don't do it. That's the easiest way around it. But if you do it, be smart, be discreet. Number 4, like, this is a no-brainer. Don't walk into a bar in Australia and order a glass of water. That's, I mean, just like, who does that? Like, it's a bar. You go there to drink. Go there to have a good time. Go there to meet people and pick up girls and guys, or whatever your thing is. So yeah, I mean, obviously, if you're drinking responsibly, if you're a designated driver, then of course, you know, fair enough. Order soft drink, order water. You know, be responsible. But outside of that, like, why go to a bar and order water? Just, it doesn't make sense to me. Anyway, maybe that boils down to our drinking problem. I don't know. Number 5, which is probably a big one for a lot of people out there, is bring money when you come to Australia, or at least have the intention to find a job if you're coming on a working holiday. The cost of living in Australia is a little bit expensive. To put it in comparison, when I was in Taiwan last year, you know, I smoked cigarettes. You know, I was buying Marlboro Red 20s in Taiwan for about $4 Australian. That same packet of cigarettes here in Australia is probably going to cost you somewhere around $30. So the cost of living and the cost, especially like luxury items, is a lot more expensive here. So if you're, if you're a smoker, it is very expensive here in Australia. You know, roll your own tobacco is probably your cheapest option at the moment. But just other things in general, you know, like I could buy a big sort of 600ml bottles beer, you know, sort of pint and a half worth of beer for about, I think it was, buy it at a 7-Eleven in Taiwan for like $1.50. It's probably, you know, cheaper in places like Thailand and Vietnam, which a lot of visitors coming through to Australia seem to sort of stop off at first. So yeah, I mean, but that same sort of beer here in Australia is probably going to cost you maybe like $10 at least. More maybe if you're at like a bit of an upper class bar or something like that. So definitely bring money. You can rough it for cheap here in Australia, but I mean, it really depends on the purpose of your visit. If you're just sort of coming for a couple of weeks and you just want to relax and have a good time and eat out every night, it is going to cost you a bit of money. And just to wrap it up quickly, I'm going to drop in a little bonus here. Probably the number 1 myth about Australia. Drop bears. It's funny, but they don't exist. They're not real. So if you are here in Australia travelling and you're a part of a tour group or staying at a hostel or something like that, and somebody tells you to put Vegemite behind your ears or under your armpits in order to scare away the drop bears, they're lying to you. They're just taking the piss, as we call it here in Australia. They're just doing it to have a joke. Drop bears do not exist, so there is no need whatsoever while you are here in Australia to put Vegemite behind your ears or under your armpits, unless you absolutely want to. So if you're coming to Australia, I hope you find this helpful. Down under Entrepreneur here. Hope everybody's having an awesome week. Have a great day. Peace out.